Hello students, welcome to Time Classes. First of all, check the handout code that I'm going to use in today's class. I'm going to use the handout bearing code number QAHO 3532017. I'm sure you have the correct handout. Perfect. I hope you are all set for today's class. Today's topic is averages, mixtures and allegations. Averages is one of those topics which can be treated as one of the pillar of arithmetic. The concept of averages are very useful across all chapters of quantitative aptitude. In particular arithmetic, the concept of averages are very useful. I'm going to cover averages followed by basic concepts of averages, which in turn weighted arithmetic mean and the reverse of weighted arithmetic mean. I'm sure the term allegation is completely new for you, but don't worry about this heavy term allegation. Allegation is basically the reverse of weighted arithmetic mean. And toward the end of the chapter, I'm going to use the application of allegations in mixture problems. Shall I start? Great. Let's start. I'm going to start from the segment number 1. All of us are aware what an average means. Average is simply the sum of the quantity divided by number of quantities. So average is simply equal to sum divided by number of quantities. Sum divided by number of quantity. Let's say we have n number of quantity. The sum of the observation divided by number of observation is my average. I'm going to use x bar for average. X bar is the notation for average. Let's assume that you have n quantities like x1, x2, x3 and so on and so forth, xn. You can see over here the number of quantities 1 to n. So this is divided by number of quantity. So average is simply sum divided by number of quantities. Out of this n quantity, let's assume that x1 is minimum. X1 is minimum among these n quantity and xn is maximum among this n quantity. So my average is always in between minima and maxima. Can I say average cannot be lesser than the minimum of the value or it cannot be greater than the maximum of the value. All right. Now let us consider one practical example. Suppose the marks obtained by you in the 5 subject is 50, 60, 70, 75 and 85. Now please answer my question. Can your average be 45? Can your average be 45? Answer is simply no. How it can be 45? my marks obtained in each of the subject is greater than equal to 50, so my average cannot be lesser than 50. So my answer is straightway no. Can your average be 90? Answer is of course not. The marks scored in each of the subject is basically less than or equal to 85. So how come your average is 90? So the range of your average is basically 50 to 85. It cannot be even 50 or 85. The range is simply 50 to 85. The first point of today's class is your average always somewhere between the lowest and the greatest value, isn't it? Yes, this is point number 1. Point number 2, let's say you have n number of quantity like x1, x2, x3, x4 and so on, xn minus 1 and xn. If each of the number is increases by k, if each of the number is increases by k, can I say my answer will not remain the same? Suppose my old average is x bar. So does it impact your average? Of course, my average will be impacted by the increase of k, increase of constant k in each of the quantity. So what is my new average? New average is basically x average plus k. This is very simple concept. This is very simple observation. If each of the number is increases by k, my average is also increases by k. Similarly, can I say if each of the number is decreases by k, minus k, minus k, minus k, minus k, so my average is x average becomes x average minus k. Can I say? Can I extend this observation for the multiplication from a certain constant k? Suppose each of these n number is multiplied by a constant k. Does it impact my average? Answer is again yes, it will impact the average and my average becomes k times of the old average. Now this k is not necessarily greater than 1. It could be either greater than 1 or it could be in between 0 and 1. I hope this is fine. So what essentially I am trying to say is if each of the number is either added or subtracted by k, my average is also added or subtracted by k. If each of the number is multiplied by k, then my average is also multiplied by k. I hope this is fine. Now, take one simple example. Suppose we have 5 number n1, n2, n3, n4 and n5. An average of all these 5 number is 39. 39 is my average. If each of the number is multiplied by 2, yani n1 becomes 2n1, n2 becomes 2n2, n3 becomes 2n3 and so on to n5. What would be the average of the new set of number? Simply new set of number is twice that of the older one. So my new average is 78 instead of 39. My new average is 39 into 2, 78. Similarly, if each of the number is divided by 3 or becomes 1 by 3 of the original number. So n1 becomes n1 by 3, n2 becomes n2 by 3, and so on. n5 becomes n5 by 3. What would be the average of new set of the number? As we earlier observed, my average is simply multiplied by 1 by 3. So 39 into 1 by 3 is turning out to be 13. I hope this point is clear. Now let us take few examples to understand this concept in better manner. So I'm going to cover one of the example, that is question number 10. And question number 10 is just a simple application of the concept that we have learned little while ago. So in this question, what is given? The average monthly income of a group of person is 5,000. Average monthly income of the group of person is 5,000. If the income of each is increased by 1,000, what will be the new average income of the group? So what is the generalized approach to answer any question? What we normally do whenever we read any question? I recommend you to not jump on the mathematical equation straight away. First of all, try to figure out what is given and what is required. And do I really require mathematical approach to answer this question? Or the logical approach is sufficient to get the answer? In this question, try to figure out what is given. Do we have any idea about the number of person in the group? Do we know the number of person? Answer is not. We do not know. Do we know the individual income? Individual income of each of the person? Answer is no. Neither we know the number of person nor we know the individual income. In the absence of these two data, can I answer the question? Answer is yes, because this question is the simple application of the concept that we have learned little while ago. Irrespective of the number of person in the group, irrespective of the individual income of each of the person, can I say if the average income of whole group is rupees 5,000 and income of each of the person is increases by 1,000. If income of each person is increases by 1,000, can I say my average is also increases by 1,000? So my new average income of the same group is rupees 5,000 plus 1,000. It would be rupees 6,000 instead of 5,000. Can I say this question is not more than 10-second question? Right? I hope this point is clear. Now quickly move to the next question. A boy scores 70% in 3 language subjects. He further get 78% and 82% in 2 of his optional subject. What should be his marks in the last optional in order to manage to get an aggregate of 75%? So first of all, for the time being, let's assume that the full marks of each of these subject, whether it is language subject or it is optional subject, is same. If full marks of each of the subject is same, Then how many subject we have in total? 3 language and 3 optional. Total number of subject is 6. So my average, the required required aggregate average is 75. So 70 into 3. 70 is multiplied by 3. 70 is multiplied by 3. Because in 3 language subject, Y scores 70%. And in remaining 2 optional, 78% and 82% respectively. And in the third optional, we are required to find out the percentage so that my aggregate percentage is 75. Can I say this is my equation? So this divided by 6. Why it is 6? Because total number of subject is 6, 3 language and 3 optional, and X is the unknown that we want to calculate. This is my simple equation. So look at the numerator. It is 210 and 78 plus 82 is 160 is 370. 370 plus X is 450. Right? So X is turning out to be 450 minus 370 is 80. So the required marks in the last optional subject in order to manage to get an aggregate of 75 must be 80. Right. Let us quickly move to the next question. This question is little tricky than the earlier one. First of all, read the question very carefully. 9 students out of 10 ate 5 chocolates per head. The 10th student ate 9 more than the average of all the 10. How many chocolate did the 10th student eat? Not clear? No. I recommend you to read the question once more. How many students are there in total? 10. 9 students out of 10 ate 5 chocolate per head. So total number of chocolate consumed by 9 student is 9 into 5 is 45. Can I say? 9 into 5 is 45. 10 child ate how many chocolate? 9 more than average of all the 10. Let's assume that the average number of chocolate is X. X is the average of all 10. X is the average of all 10. So the number of chocolate that 10th student ate is 9 more than the average. So 10 child ate how many chocolate? X plus 9. So 10th child ate how many chocolate? X plus 9. And what is your ideal average? So average number of chocolate consumed by the group of 10 students is X. Now we have all the requisite information. Now we are required to frame the equation. So total number of chocolate consumed by these 10 children is 45 plus X plus 9. Can I say 45 is the number of chocolate consumed by 9 students and X plus 9 the chocolate that 10 child ate divided by 10 should be equal to ideal average. Can I say? Now we have a simple cross multiplication and we will get the value of X. So in this question, what is the most important element? The most important part is the formation of equation. Once you are done with equation, you can easily answer the question. Unlike previous question, we can't answer this question mentally. We are supposed to frame the equation. So 54 plus x is 10x. So 9x is 54. So x is equal to 6. And we are required to calculate the number of chocolate consumed by the 10th student. The 10th student ate how many chocolate? X plus 9. And x plus 9 is nothing but 6 plus 9 is equal to 15. I hope this is fine. Alright. Now let us move to the next set of concept that might help you to solve the question further. You may find some average questions in which one of the element or the group of the element is counted more than once, and we are required to find out the value of those group or those unknown which are counted more than once. Try to solve additional question number 4. Additional question number 4 is on the other side of your handout. Additional. In an examination conducted among 13 students, the average of their scores was 60. The top 7 scores have an average of 66, whereas the least 7 scores have an average of 54. Find the 7th highest score. The total number of students is 13. If I write their score in the descending order, suppose T1 is the highest score and T1 is the name of the student who got the highest score. You can assume anything. So T1 is basically the student who got the highest score. Then T2, then T3, T4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and so on, T11, T12 and T13 are the 13 score in descending order. So T1 is maximum and T13 is the minimum. T1 is the highest score, T13 is the least score. According to your question, the average of top 7 score, can I say the average of these 7 score is how much? 66. So sum total of these 7 score is 7 into 66 is 462. Can I say? In the similar pattern, the sum total of the least 7 score, 8 to 13 is only 6 score. 7 to 13 is the set of least 7 score. You can see over here T7 is the 7th highest score which has been counted twice, and the average of least 7 score is 54. So the sum total of these 7 score is 54 into 7 is 378. Can I say? If I add these two numbers, this and this, the total is turning out to be 462 plus 378 is 400, 300, 700, 130 and 10, yani 840. But as per your question, the average of their score was 60. Average of 13 student, average score of 13 student is 60. The sum total score of 13 student is basically 13 into 60 is 780. But you can see one more thing. In this process, one of the number is counted twice. T7 score, the seventh highest score is counted twice. By the virtue of this double counting, we are getting how much extra? How much extra you are getting? 60. And this 60 is only because of this double counting. Can I say T7 is nothing but 60? I hope the solution is clear. Again, can I say this is not more than 1.5 minute question? Or if you understood the, you can say, the concept behind this question, you may answer this question with the help of little calculation. All right. Now, the move to the next set of concept. You may find some questions of averages in which elements are in AP, arithmetic progression. So if the numbers are in AP, then we are not supposed to use the formula of average in such kind of questions. Mere observation is sufficient to get the average. So let us consider first of all few examples. Right? Let's say the numbers are, suppose we have 5 elements and the magnitude of elements are 26, 33, 40, 47 and 54. So basically we have 5 elements and their corresponding value is 26, 33, 40, 47 and 54. So my question is, what is the average of these 5 numbers? You know, arithmetic progression means the common difference between the two consecutive terms is throughout constant. So in this case, the number of terms is 5 and their common difference is 7. So whenever number of term is odd number, the middlemost term is always the average. So average of this 5 number is simply the middlemost term, which is 40. Let us take one more example in which number of term is even number. Suppose we have 8 elements and the magnitude of element is 28, 36, 44, 52, 60, 68, 76 and 84. Let us quickly check. 28 plus 8, 36 plus 8, 44, 8, 52, 60, 68, 76 and 84. So the total number of element is 8 and their common difference is also 8. Now 8 is even number. This time we do not have any middlemost term. In fact, we have two middlemost term. Actually, we have two middlemost term, that is 52 and 60. So in all such kind of question, whenever number of term is even number, the average of two middlemost term is the average. Average of two middlemost term is the average. So what is your average? 52 plus 60 divided by 2 is how much? 56. So 56 is the average of this group. I'm sure you understood the concept. In case of odd number of term, middlemost term is the average, or in case of even number of term, average of two middlemost term is the average. Let us generalize this concept. I'm taking one more example. Suppose the numbers are 16, 22, 28, 34, 46, 52, 58 and 64, right? 22, 28, 34. Some minor calculation error. Let us take the number as 40, 46, 52, 58. So 3 plus 6 to 8 numbers. We want to calculate the average of these 8 numbers. Can we calculate the average with the help of only first term and last term? Yes, answer is yes. And concept is very simple. Average of terms, average of terms equidistant, you can note it down, equidistant from beginning and end is constant and it equals to the ideal average x bar. Instead of the middlemost term, you can take the average of terms equidistant from beginning and end. So average of terms equidistant from beginning and end is constant and it equals to the ideal average. So let us take the first and last term first. 16 and 58 are the first and last. 22 and 52 is second and second last. 28 and 46, then 34 and 40. You can see over here the sum is invariant. If you take the term equidistant from beginning and end, your sum is constant. Can I say sum is 74 in each of the case? 74, 74, 74 and 74. Then your average is turning out to be 74 upon 2 is 37. Can I say? So average of terms equidistant from beginning and end is constant and it equals to your ideal average. I hope all the points are clear. So let's quickly move to the question in which we are going to apply these concepts only. What is the average of the number from 11 to 20? 11 to 20. This is very easy question. So first of all, how many numbers are there from 11 to 20? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20. Can I say these numbers are in AP? Do I require to write all this stuff? Ideally, we need to calculate average by using the formula sum of the quantity divided by number of quantity. The moment you come to know that the given numbers are in AP, then for average, even the first term and last terms are sufficient. We do not require any other term. So the average is simply the average of the terms equidistant from beginning and end. Can I say first plus last divided by 2 is equal to second plus second last divided by 2. So my answer is simply 11 plus 20 by 2, which is nothing but 15.5. Actually, this is not more than 10-second question. The moment you come to know that my first term is 11 and the last term is 20, my average is nothing but 11 plus 20 by 2 is 15.5, right? Now, the average of 20 consecutive natural numbers is 30.5. Find the average of the 10th and 11th number. So if there are 20 consecutive natural number, 20 consecutive natural number means we have an AP in which the number of term is 20, right? N1, N2, N3, N4, N5, and so on, N10, N11, and N18, 19, and 20. So if there are 20 consecutive number, what are the middlemost number? 10 number are to the left of half and 10 number is on the second half. Can you say these two numbers are basically the middlemost number? An average of middlemost number is nothing but the actual average, and actual average is 30.5. So can I say the average of middlemost number 10th and 11th is 30.5 only? Yes or no? Again, this question is 10-second question. If you know the concept, then you can easily apply. Now, the average rainfall per day for a 25-day period at a certain hill station is 105 mm. Starting from the second day, the rainfall on each day was 3 mm more than that on the previous day. Find the rainfall on the first day of the period. So first of all, try to understand what is given. We are considering 25 days, right now. In our consideration, there are 25 consecutive days, day number 1, day number 2, and so on, day number 25. Between two consecutive days, the change in rainfall is plus 3 mm. So day number 2, rainfall is 3 mm more than day 1, which in turn, day number 3 rainfall is 3 mm more than day 2. So let us try to answer this question from, first of all, traditional approach. Day number 1, the rainfall is, let's say, X. Day number 2, the rainfall is X plus 3. Similarly, day number 3, the rainfall is X plus 3 plus 3. Can I say X plus 3 multiplied by 2? And so on. Day number 25, the rainfall would be X plus 3 multiplied by 24. These are the data pertaining to the given question. The first day, day number 1, rainfall is X. Day number 2 is 3 mm more than the previous day. Day number 3, again 3 more than the previous day. And so on and so forth. Day 25, rainfall would be X plus 3 into 24. So what is the sum total of the total rainfall in the span of 25 days? In the span of the given 25 days, D1 to D25, the sum is X appear how many times? 25 times. It is 25X. And 3, 1, 3, 2 and so on 325. If you take 3 common, it is 1 plus 2 and so on plus 24. Can I say? And you know that sum of 24 natural number, you know the formula for the sum of n consecutive natural number. What is the formula? It is n into n plus 1 divided by 2. N into n plus 1 divided by 2. So if you take 3 common, sum of 24 natural number is 24 into 25 by 2 is actually how much? 25x plus how much? 25 into 12, 300. 300 into 3, 900. What is the average rainfall in the span of 25 days? Average is 25x plus 900 divided by 25, and which is nothing but 105 mm, which is already provided in your question. Now this is what x plus 36 is 25, 375, 15, 36 is 105, and it is 105 minus 36 is 69. So this is your one of the approach. X is 69 mm and you want to calculate the value of x. X is the rainfall on day number 1. On the very first day, the rainfall is 69 mm. This is your traditional approach. Can I afford such kind of solution in your examination? Answer is, if we are getting such kind of question, this is certainly the last choice, or we will solve these questions towards the end so that we can solve the easier question in the early phase of the examination. But if you apply the alternative approach to answer this question, then this question is not more than, you can say, 30-second question. Can I say the rainfall on day number 1, day number 2, day number 3 and so on, day number 12, day number 13, day number 14 and day number 25 is in AP? We have 25 numbers which are in AP. Between two consecutive days, the difference in the rainfall is 3 mm. Alright. So can I say we have a set of 25 number which are in AP? And you know that middlemost number is the average, and it is quite apparent that D13 is the middlemost day. So the rainfall on 13th day is nothing but the average, and your average rainfall is 105 mm. And you know between two consecutive days there is a gap of 3. So how many gaps we have? From D1 to D13, the total number of gap is 12. D1 to D2, gap number 1, D2 to D3, gap number 2, and so on. D12 to D13, we have gap number 12. So total number of gap till 13th day is 12 with respect to day number 1. So day number 1 rainfall plus 12 into 3 should be the rainfall of day number 13, which is nothing but 105. D1 plus 36 is 105. So what is the value of T1? D1 is simply 105 minus 36 is 69. In this fashion, we can answer this question within 30 seconds. I have written all this stuff just for your understanding. We can do all these things without any paper and pen. We can solve this question mentally. All right. Now, move to the next type of question in which some element or some member join the group or leave the group. So look at the question number 4 in your handout. The average age of 18 students in a class is 18 years. The average age of the class would increase by 1 year if the age of their class teacher is also included. Find the age of the class teacher. So let's assume that. So my equation is very simple. First of all, traditional approach to answer this question. The sum total of all 18 students is how much? 18 into 18, 324. 18 square is 324. The sum total of the age of 18 students. Let's assume that age of teacher is X. Now the total number of member is 19, 18 plus 1 including teacher, and your new average is 18 plus 1, 19. Average is increases by 1. This is my simple equation. So 324 plus X is 19 into 19 is 19 square is 361. X is turning out to be how much? 37 years. But do I require to write all these stuff? X is the age of teacher is 37 years. Now try to solve this question mentally without using any paper and pen. Alternative approach. Alternatively, had the teacher been of 18 years of age, can I say he will or she will not impact the average of the group? Average will remain 18. But if I add the age of teacher, the average of the whole group is increases by 1. What does it mean? It means that teacher is bringing 1 year extra age for everyone including him or her. Can I say? Had the teacher been of 18 years age, the average age of group would be simply 18. If by adding his age, the average of the whole group is increases by 1, it means he or she is bringing 1 year for everybody, including him. So 18, there is no change in the average. But after adding the age of teacher, the whole group is increases by 1. Yani he is bringing 1 extra for everyone including him. Yani how many person? 19. So he is bringing 19 extra. By the virtue of this 19 extra, the average of whole group is increases by how much? 1 year. So it means that teacher is bringing 19 extra for the group. So 18 plus 19 is nothing but 37. Remember one simple concept. Suppose average of 10 number is 50. If I remove the number which is greater than 50, then average will drop by certain extent. If I remove the number which is less than 50, then average will increases by certain extent. I hope this point is clear. All right. Now we will discuss the rest of the part in the continued lecture of average mixture and alligation, and I will repeat this concept once more in the miscellaneous problem of the next segment. Thank you. Thank you very much.